Hi there, it's Kanika. This is an episode from the That's Total Mom Sense archives, which date back to 2019. If you're new here, there's a chance you haven't heard this one yet. And if you've been tuning in since the beginning, you'll surely be able to gather new ideas this time around. I know I have. I hope you enjoy it. On to the show. Hi, I'm Kanika, and you're listening to That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast, where I interview public figures on their life lessons in parenting, legacy, and built-in sixth sense.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland, and you're checking out That's Total Mom Sense.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton, and my experience on That's Total Mom Sense was fantastic.
It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
Thank you to my guests, brand partners, community, and you for making this show possible. Episodes released every Thursday wherever you listen to podcasts. You can join my tribe by logging on to thatstotalmomsense.com and by following me on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Kanika Chadha Gupta. Now let's dive into today's episode. Have you ever thought about going plant-based? Could you do it? Do you have the interest and willpower to revamp your refrigerator, your skincare essentials, your clothing, and essentially your philosophy in life? Today, I'm joined by a celebrity who has made that choice, and she's a serial entrepreneur and a famous actress, influencer, and mom. She is Daniella Monet. LA native sitcom actress Daniella Monet has appeared on numerous television series from CBS's Listen Up alongside Jason Alexander to Nickelodeon's comedy hit Victorious. And she went on to host 3 seasons of Paradise Run, which was filmed in Hawaii. Daniella is a full-time ethical entrepreneur, having invested in several conscious companies that help make living a plant-based lifestyle more accessible. With millions of engaged followers on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, Daniella organically curates content that is fun and relatable. She shared her pregnancy journey on YouTube and is a loving mom to her babies, Gio and Ivory. The actress is vegan and has been plant-based for over 20 years. She's an animal advocate from day one and fur mom to rescued pitbull Jake. Along with her longtime love, Andrew, she enjoys quality time at home with their family, oftentimes with a cup of Drew coffee in hand. The ethical entrepreneur has navigated through multiple successful endeavors, including one she co-founded called Kinder Beauty Box. And get this, she is a fellow podcaster now. She and her friend, Ivana Lynch, who played Luna Lovegood in the Harry Potter franchise, have launched their very own podcast called A Little Kinder. And we're going to dive into all of this with the kind and good-natured person herself, Daniella.
Oh, thank you so much. That's quite the intro.
Yes, you've done so much in your lifetime and you're just getting started.
It sometimes feels that way.
Yeah, in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
I want to just give a shout out to our PR team, Icon PR, and Heather, who's at the helm for making this happen. So much love to you guys. Okay, so growing up in LA, did you always feel that you wanted to go into entertainment and become an actor?
Yeah, I think at a young age, I was pretty outgoing and my mom sensed that. And so it was kind of a natural transition, I'd say, into auditioning. And when I really decided to kind of go I was always dedicated even as a kid actor, but when I finally had my own license and I was ready to take this on solely without, the help of my parents, that was when I really made the conscious effort to invest more than just, time after school. That's how it's been ever since until I became a mom, I'd say.
So I wanted to touch on your role that many know you for, Trina Vega in Victorious, where you acted alongside Ariana Grande and Victoria Justice. And you have this royal fandom at Nickelodeon. What was that experience in particular like?
Oh, gosh, it was a whirlwind. It was a big chapter of my life where I feel like you're in a time warp almost, when I think back to that part of my life, I I often go, wait, did that really happen? Because it was so much at one time, but it was magical. I mean, what an amazing experience. Just the process to get to that point wasn't easy. I had to work very hard to kind of stand out in Nickelodeon's eyes. I'd been a child actor since the age of 5, really. And so to finally have an opportunity to be on a network that I grew up watching at the age of 18 it took a while, but it was worth the wait. And it was a great time. I mean, we made a lot of really amazing connections, and the show was something to be proud of. I feel lucky to have been a part of something that people still to this day look forward to watch. And that we have new viewers every day, kids that are now growing up with the show, and it's new to them. And it was something I'll never forget. I'm totally grateful for the opportunity.
Now on to Paradise Run, where it was a fun game show for kids. And I think what I appreciate most about it is that it taught them teamwork, how to overcome obstacles, be it physical or mental. And, the backdrop of Hawaii didn't hurt either. So what was your favorite memory from Paradise Run?
I think my favorite memory was being in a different position. Being on Victorious, I knew a lot of kids were watching, and it was really cool to know that I had maybe an impression in their lives. But being on Paradise Run, I got to actually work with kids, and it was so much more free flowing. It wasn't scripted. I was able to kind of do my own thing and make small talk. And that's when I really realized that even though I love acting, I think what I grew to love most was being in the kids' world. Being, like I said, I played like a big sister figure at all my Victorious cast. Like I like being that for, several kids that know of me. I hope to be a role model for them. And so I got to actually work with them. And of course, Hawaii was amazing.
Now, I wanted to talk about your lifestyle, and one that you've really stayed true to, and that's being plant-based. And you've done it for your entire adult life. What made you want to go plant-based?
Well, I was vegetarian when I was 5. I knew right away I didn't want to eat animals, and I was pretty adamant about it. I think I just was born with a bit of confidence, which I'm grateful for today because it's taken me pretty far. But it also was unique because I had to lean into something that was a bit more different. Not everyone I didn't really know any vegetarians at that age. And then because I had such a love for animals, it wasn't until I was maybe 6th grade when I started to learn more about, animal agriculture and factory farming and what was actually happening in our food system. And even though I was so young, it doesn't really matter, right? You're very impressionable, and kids can catch on to things pretty quickly. And when they do, it's like this, and we're impressionable in a way that like we look at the eyes, so the world through our eyes so differently as kids. I see it with my own kids now, like I go to take them to see animals, like they look at animals and they love them wholeheartedly. If I were to ever connect the dots between what, some people may eat, it would break their heart. And that was the same for me. All I needed to know was the truth, and that was enough for me. And so once I did, I knew I didn't want to eat any animal byproducts. And then as I got older, I'd say probably in my late teens is when I realized, oh, they use animals for like everything.
Yeah, like casing
ridiculous. Like it's so, and to me, it's kind of silly because we've had so many advances in so many other places, yet still, the animal agriculture needs the funding to keep their business going. And so things haven't changed at the rate that they should have. And now, fortunately, we have other options, but it's still a struggle. I'm so passionate about it because I believe everyone should know the truth about what they're consuming and what they're spending their money on and where it came from and what's in it. And you make your decision from there.
Now, naysayers may say that there's just not enough protein in a plant-based diet. How do you get your protein, and, what are some of your recommendations?
I get my protein mostly through, the obvious beans, legumes, even grains, leafy greens. The darker, the better. I always like to make the analogy that the biggest animals that have walked our earth were strictly vegan, strictly plant-based. I mean, elephants, gorillas, even. I mean, if you look at just
dinosaurs,
dinosaurs, of course. Yeah. And cows, cows are these beautiful creatures. They're like, if they're wild, 800 and 900 pounds. If they're factory, no, these are animals that just eat plants. So
True.
I think there's a misconception, and a lot of that narrative comes back to the business side. Unfortunately, a lot of people get the messaging around protein and they don't get the messaging around eating fruits and vegetables or taking your vitamins or drinking plenty of water. So I think it's the balance of it all, as opposed to like, what about protein? Nah, it's not all about protein.
What about for those who are on keto or Atkins or are meat lovers? I mean, how do you think they can make the switch over?
As I've gotten older, I may have gotten a bit more confident in my conviction, but I don't like to be pushy with people like that because it's really hard to change someone's mind. This is a thing that changes your whole lifestyle, right? I have my fiance, Andrew, he and I have been together for 10 years. 8 of those years, he ate whatever he wanted. He was a mindful eater for the most part, but he wasn't vegan. So for people like that, I like them to find it on their own. And what I do suggest is trying meatless Mondays. Like pick a day, any day of the week, but go for a meal at that point, just one meal of that day, and see if you can like make the adjustments there and then gradually maybe continue on. Some people it's black and white, especially if you're a meat eater, it might be hard for you to part with certain things. So it's better to just like rip the Band-Aid off and be like, I'm done. So it's like 2 lanes you can take, maybe gradual, or just, you got to just say no more. Like you maybe saw something like for Andrew, was watching this documentary called Game Changers. And that for him was like light bulb switch went on. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. After 8 years, it was just something like that you never know.
Can you give us some, meatless options? Because I feel like as moms, we live at Costco, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's.
Oh my gosh. I remember when my kids were teething, which I still have one. She's 9 months old. She is teething. I'll give them like steamed broccoli stalks to gnaw or celery, things of that, like so simple. I just try to think back to the simplest forms of food. And that's generally, to me, going to be the healthiest and more rich with nutrients.
Absolutely.
And then of course they're kids. So it's like, yeah, we do the PB&J. We eat a lot of pasta. When I'm making mac and cheese, I try to use really clean vegan cheeses, or I even do my own cheese that I make myself. I'm trying to look around our house. I mean, we do a lot of rice and beans. It's the basic stuff, but veganized.
I actually loved watching your pregnancy and gender reveal videos. They were so heartwarming, and seeing your parents' reactions. And so I love how open you've been. What compelled you to put yourself out there like that?
I think the best part about being in the public eye is connecting with people as a person, separating yourself from maybe the celebrity or the idea that maybe you have more power, and just being relatable. Like that to me is a beautiful thing, because that's when you have influence. Before there was social media, I kind of felt that feeling being a role model for kids. Like I know that I have influence and I only want to use it for good. And so now there's bigger platforms to do that. And I try to like do it in my own way. I'm not by any means like a professional, as some influencers and content creators are, but I kind of take my own approach where, within reason, I make time, and hopefully it lands and affects someone in a good way. So when I was pregnant with Gio, I knew that I was going to be segueing into a new chapter, and motherhood was going to be all consuming, and it was that and then some. And I knew that I needed to have something to either reach other people that were in that space. So I pitched the idea of doing a podcast. And at the time, my fiance was working very hard in the business world. And I said, listen, I don't know how we're going to make time for it. We're going to be new parents. I don't know what it's going to be like, but it's going to be worth it. So I got him on board. The podcast took off. And so we started adulting like a mother father. Ironically, Andrew decided 2 weeks maybe into having Gio that he wasn't ready to go back to work, and he hasn't since. And
Wow.
He's 2.5. So he and I now just kind of took entrepreneur life by the reins, and the podcast has been a really fun anchor for that. And it's created a community that we didn't even know we needed.
How do you and Andrew parent together and partner together? What's the dynamic like?
He's amazing. He's with my kids right now. Like I can see him playing in the yard. He's amazing. Like we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. We knew we wanted to be parents. We knew we loved kids. We're just lucky that we're in this together. I swear. I mean, single parents out there, I applaud them. I don't know how, and without like a support system, I can't imagine. I think that, and I realize this now that we're in it, back in the old days when people literally were in tribes raising families, that is the way to go.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
This whole like, I'm going to take it on all by myself it'll kill you. It may not kill you, but it'll get close to it. So I'm grateful that we have each other and we're figuring it out slowly, but surely. We're both very like open when it comes to parenting. I think we do okay.
What made you think of Kinder, firstly?
Oh my gosh. Well, when my partners and I were trying to come up with a name, I remember just going on my notes on my phone and thinking, this business is kind. Like there's kindness just threaded through it 100%. And so we were trying to figure it out. We knew it was going to be a beauty box. So it really came to us pretty simply. And Kinder Beauty is just like stuck. And I have so much, I can go on and on about Kinder Beauty. This company is so close to my heart. It's the first one I've ever co-founded, ever. Thankfully, I had experience as an investor in other businesses prior to, but having your own company is like, oof, it's a lot. And you have to really care about what you're doing and you have to be passionate about what you're trying to do. And so this is a mission-based company founded by animal activists. And our whole goal is to just make clean, vegan, cruelty-free products accessible for the masses at a price that's actually accessible as well. I couldn't afford to shop at Whole Foods, and I didn't know where to find products that were like not going to harm me or not going to be tested on animals or whatever. So this is really the ticket for people. We grew 300% during COVID because people cared. They started to pay attention to what they were using on their body, in their body. I mean, people started to look at themselves as like, valuable. Like, what can we do differently? What changes can we make? And this is like, I know it's such a simple thing, but our skin is one of the biggest organs we have, right? And we need to care about what we're putting on our body, especially as a mom or a breastfeeding mom or, a pregnant mom. These are things that matter to me. And I want to make sure that message is loud and clear.
Yeah, exactly. And tell us about some of the product lines.
Oh my gosh. Well, we work with, so many now. At first it was like, who wants to be a partner of ours? Raise your hand. We're like, got to go seek them out. And now, so we were like booked with partners up until next year, end of next year. Let me think of some: 100% Pure, Andalou Naturals, DLEO Organics, Pacifica. We work with companies big and small. So everything from like a mom and pop shop, we found this amazing girl. I think it's called the Little Poppy. I might be saying that wrong, but she makes these bath bombs and she did them. She's a kid, right? She did them to raise money to pay for her dad who was ill, like hospital bills and things of that nature. And then it became a business. And it's like, these are the companies we're able to support. We support a lot of Black owned business, women owned business, minority businesses, just people that we just want to help lend our voice to. In return, like they gain a whole new following themselves. And it's a really cool win-win dynamic.
And what was kind of the impetus for the Kinder podcast?
Having conversations like this are impactful. You're in someone's ear, you're being honest. And there's a lot of things that I can share on a podcast that I would never share, maybe on my social media, or it's a cool vehicle. And we're interviewing people that have stories that, even I was surprised to hear them. Actors and leaders, and even our fellow co-founder, Andrew Bernstein, who is incredible. Like, these people have something to say. And I think that, if people are willing to listen, they can learn something. And we have this little bit where we do a little random act of kindness every episode. And then we encourage listeners to do it. And there's a giveaway element as well. So it's fun, it's light. I try to keep the levity because I think that's important. But especially when you're talking about things like that could tend to be a little kind of heavy.
You and Ivana bring on change makers and thought leaders for making an impact. And you have CEOs and celebrities. What were some of the takeaways from, any of your guests that have really stuck with you?
That we're all very similar, that we're all the same in so many ways. If we were to just simplify things, like go back to that whole, we were all a kid at one point, and if somebody told us what the truth was about what was going on, it would impact us. And so these people are just using that sort of honest reaction to do something good. And those are the kind of people that I want in my corner and that I think people deserve to hear from. And it's made an impression on me. So I made a commitment to invest in vegan companies. The first one was Outstanding Foods, which has been so exciting to be a part of. Outstanding Foods came out with pork rinds and pigless bacon. And now they have these really cool puffs that my kids love. But it's a healthy vegan company with snack foods that are more balanced. And then I also have Sugar Taco, which is a restaurant chain that I invested in. And then Kiki Milk, which is so exciting for new mamas or even just moms in general whose kids love to drink milk. This is the cleanest vegan milk on the market. It's now available for pre-order and shipping at the end of this month. So any minute now. But that company is I'm so passionate about that, because for a lot of parents that have little ones who maybe they couldn't breastfeed or just need to transition them into a milk that they want to trust, that they know is healthy and clean for their kid, clean for the environment, this is the only solution at this point. We were introduced to this company through my pediatrician. So I'm very proud to be a part of Kiki Milk.
And so, as you know, the show is called That's Total Mom Sense. And I love asking my guests their mom sense and dad sense moments. And by that, I mean a time where you trusted your intuition when it came to your kids. So
C vitamins for kids, like the labels usually say like, 2 and up or 6 months and up. Like, like you can't tell me what to do when it comes to my kids' well-being. So occasionally, like before my kids were 2 years old, I gave them vitamins that I felt like I could trust. Like either I'd water them down or I'd, give them ones a little less of it or whatever. But those are moments where like kids, like parents of mine have asked like, what do you give your kids for vitamins? And then I tell them and they go, but isn't that not for their age? And I'm like, first of all, like Tylenols, you're allowed to give your kid Tylenol at like an infant age. Like you're going to tell me like Tylenol's safer than, some vitamin C when my kid has a runny nose.
Yeah.
So those are moments where I'm like, you got to trust your mom sense. Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let's not forget our quote of the day.
Is there a quote that you live by?
This is so simple, but when I was younger and I was learning how to like sign an autograph, I would always sign it with dream big. And still to this day, I feel like the sky is always the limit. Like I'm always trying to dream bigger and just be a serial optimist. I'd say, dream big.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's now time for Mom Haul, when we share products we love.
This is just the segment where you can share something that you're loving.
Gosh, I'm going to actually do the opposite for a second, because I feel like so many parents think they need so much when in reality, I don't know about you, 3 kids, you're like, I don't feel like I needed 90% of this, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's so much simpler than that. Even when it comes to toys, like my kids much prefer going outside and like rolling around and like singing and dancing. So for me, it's like singing has taken me I'm not a singer, and anyone who watches Victorious knows this about me, but singing is my must as a parent. It gets you through diaper changes that kids are squirmy for. It gets you through, boo-boos. It gets you through eating, like all the things.
That's so great. And lastly, where can my listeners find you and follow you?
Just search Daniella Monet. I'm on Instagram, and that's mostly the platform I stick to these days. Yes. Or a podcast, A Little Kinder, or Adulting Like a Mother Father. You could hear the real deal on that show.
That's great. That's so great. Thank you so much for taking the time out. You are an incredible entrepreneur, mom, and more. And I'm so excited for all the things you're going to build. And thanks for making this world kinder.
Oh, thank you. Likewise.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Daniella is incredible. If you aren't already vegetarian or vegan, I'm sure you're entertaining the idea. And it's great to hear about her experience and the insights that she had to share. It was wonderful to hear about her journey through entertainment and acting, and now how she's taking the beauty industry by storm. I do have a special code for Kinder Beauty. And if you log on to the website, kinderbeauty.com, you can enter the code MomSense20 to receive 20% off your order. That's MomSense20 to receive 20% off your order. If you haven't already subscribed or rated or reviewed my podcast, do it. You can visit my link, thatstotalmomsense.com/iTunes. They really, really help. I also have a guide on my website to help you if you do need help with the Apple review. If you have suggestions for show topics or there are guests you think should be on the show and you're excited to hear from, email me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. Remember, always trust your mom sense and dad sense. Stay strong, super parents. I'll see you next time.
That's total mom sense.